Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
All honor, all praise, all glory goes to Yah Most High, the fountain of living waters, the maker, the owner, the creator, the possessor of all things and everything. Shabbat Shalom, family. Please share the screen for me. Once again, we're in Torah portion for this week. Key Tetse, when you go out. Where are we at? See there?
Yep.
Oh, man, I appreciate you. Thank you. My glasses was broken yesterday, so we're gonna make this thing happen though. Kita tselin manhar maad aya vekar utan no jahwad elohekar bayaderkar vaya shiftar shivoy waretar bashav yad ishad yarfetarod wahashekad bo walachotolak lar ishar wahavetad el to bethekad wargir har el roshad we ostod ezefor nehad what he serod el shimlar shiv ya no yad mi alehad ويشفت ببثقات وباقات الأبطال والإيمان يرى يرمي وهيحات كي طرفو إليحات وباصر وهيهتات لقلر إيشات وهير إملو هرباتات باد ورشلتار ولنه ملنفشار وماركو لود تیم سرنا بارکار سیف لو تیف ارمیر بارتیخات آشینا We're going to do something where we go bar for bar from now on, family. We're going to take you bar for bar. Hold on, let's go to the Q Bible. We're going to get real in depth with this now. We're in Torah portion. Key tet zay when you go out, Deuteronomy 21 to Deuteronomy 25. We want you to always understand what's happening. Let's get there. So what I just read was the opening pasuk. That was from chapter 10 to chapter 14. So we're gonna go bar for bar. Okay. Bring it out.
From the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 21, verse 10. Hallelujah. When thou goest forth to battle against thy enemies, and the Lord thy God delivereth them into thy hands, and thou carriest them away captive.
Okay. Once again. This is when you go to war. Lemaharmat. Ar ayaverakar ufti no Yehovah Elohekar vayaderakar wa shif batar shif od. And you find a and thou carriest away captive. So this is when we go to war. This is when we're sovereign and we're in control and we're in our own land. Hallelujah. What does it say?
And seest among the
Wayaretar re'u from the word root re'u to see. Barishiv yare ishet. When you see a woman, this is then it says Yafa, which is beautiful. Tarhor. Tarhor is she has a great shape to her. So if you see something that's strapped up, that's thick, that's what this is talking about. I'm giving it to you in plain English because Torah is pretty explicit. Let's show you what that word means so you can understand. We want to give you family more of a Hebraic understanding. I'm not really a fan of Q Bible. Their translations, they're okay, but it's pretty cool for if you just need to get quick information. Ishet, where are we at? Oh, that will help. There's no gatekeeping here. So we're going to go 24, 21. Where are we at? Yafa, beautiful. Yafe, fair, beautiful, or if it's talking masculine, talk about a man. So it's used beautiful in all these contexts, fair, beautiful, beautiful, warm, pleasant, well. The root word, the key word to this is not the word yafa, tahor. We're going with the word tahor, which means shape, form, outline, figure, appearance. So it has a beautiful shape. So if you see a woman that's nice and curvy, right, that's basically what it's talking about. As you know, some of our South African sisters that have been blessed, it's talking about women of that stature, right? That they have the quote unquote BBL without the BBL. You see a woman of beautiful form. Keep going.
And sees among the captives a woman of goodly form, and thou hast a desire unto her.
Don't ever repeat the same verse twice. Go to the next line when you pick it up.
And thou hast a desire unto her, and wouldest take her to thee to wife.
So you want her to be your wife. You take towards la isha to be your wife. Okay. Oh well. Let me show you how to study so you can get these things in on your own. Come on.
Then thou shalt bring her home to thy house, and she shall shave her head and pare her nails. And she shall put the raiment of her captivity from off her, and she shall remain in thy house, and bewail her father and her mother a full month. And after that, thou mayest go in unto her, and be her husband.
Now, this is interesting, right? وَهِسَرَارَ ed shimlar shiya shivyar mi alechar وَيِشْبَار babaterekar ufbaktar ed arviha war ed ima. So her father and her mother, right? Yerech yarmim. So this is they translated this as a full month, but this says Yerech Yamin. So sometimes you're going to see they take the liberty of putting a month with a moon and a moon with a month. I would do more research before I speak on if they're actually 100% synonymous, but I believe words matter, right? I believe we equate the Hodesh with an entire moon, but it may not have necessarily been that in ancient times, right? But it says Yerech Yadamin. So it says a moon of days, right? Where we at? Lunation Yamin. Let's go here real quick. See, they're just gonna put a month. This is why I'm not really a fan of their month. Yedah can refer to moon or month, which is a modern Hebrew word for month. Hodesh, Hodesh Yerak, or Yere, Slika. That's where the difference is. Okay, Ken, come on. So when a woman is brought in, when you go to war and you were to capture a city, now some may say this contradicts. Let's show you something. Forget this right here. Let's go. Land of Israel and Josh. No. What? Let's explain to you this law right here. Let's go land of Israel before Israelite conquest. We have to show you who lived in this land so you can understand. This isn't a good example. Let's get this. Close that out. This is even worse. I want to explain this law, but it's easier if I can show you who was in this land. There's this notion that there were only, this may be a better. Okay. They're not going to work with us today. Give me the image I need. I didn't even click this one. When you look at the land of Israel, there were nations that were in that land prior to us inhabiting the land. Land of Canaan before Israel conquest. It exists. We just have to get it. Here we go. Okay. Whoa. Whew. But we never get here. Okay. So let's compare. Let's actually talk about what's happening here. Right? And then let's go here. Let's add this law to the law so we can understand. Let's compound these. We were warned not to deal with certain nations. Let's go here. Ki yivareka Yehovah Elohecha ha'aretz arshe etar bashimai. Lerishtar wenachshor goyim, the nations, ravim, greater, mifanecha, mightier, Hahaiti, the Hittites, Wahagergarshi, the Girgashites, Wahaimari, the Amorites, Wahakanaini, the Canaanites, Wahaperazi, the Perizzites, Wahayehawi, the Jebusites. The Havites. Wahayivesi, the Jebusites. Shiva, 7 goyim, 7 nations, Rabim, mightier or more. Wa'atzormim, mimicha. So greater and mightier than you. When the Lord thy God shall deliver them before thee and shall smite them, thou shalt utterly destroy them. Thou shalt make no covenant with them, nor show them mercy. Neither shalt thou make marriages with them. Thy daughters thou shalt not give unto thy sons, nor thy sons thou shalt not take unto thy daughters. We load titatid bam, betheka lotatin, left nod uv bathod, lo tichad lebanecha. So you are not supposed to make any marriages with their sons and their daughters. Who are you not supposed to make marriages with? When Israel took over this land and created this map right here with 12 tribes, there were people already in this land that they did not fully conquer, right? We know Moabite men couldn't join the congregation because it says a Moabite. If you want to conflate that to man and woman, that's okay too. I won't have a problem with it. The Edomites were not a part of the people that you were not allowed to marry, but you were also not going to conquer them. The Ammonites, you were not supposed to actually go to war against them according to what God has said. So the Amorites, let's see if they're on this list so we can understand how to look at these things. The Amari, yes. So we know a woman, the Amorite woman, you would never marry. The Hittite woman, we already read that. The Hevizite, the Perizzite, the Canaanite, the Girgashite, the Hittites. But we have this set of women right here, the Philistines. They're not listed in this right here. They're not listed in the nations of people that we could not marry because it says, Goyim Ravim, Melfoneka Wahayiti, Wahagagashi, Wahamari, Wahakanaini, Wahperadzid, Waharvid, Wahayatsi. So the Hittite, the Girgashite, the Amorite, the Canaanite, the Perizzite, the Hivite, the Jebusite. Those are nations that you couldn't marry. The 7 nations or who you had a prohibition on. That's why when you go to Ezra 10, right? People, I need everyone to understand this too. Ezra was not the high priest. Ezra was a priest, right? And Ezra was not a prophet. Ezra was just a priest with some history behind him. So now let's look at this. It says, Ezra chapter 10, because a lot of people run here to prove maternal descent. Now, therefore, let us make a covenant with our God to put away all our wives. Why would you have to make a covenant with God to do this law right here if he already told you to do this law right here? The reason why Ezra had to make a covenant, because the women that Ezra put away weren't all a part of that list of women from Deuteronomy chapter 7. This is why they had to make a vow to God to put the women away. It says, and Ezra rose up before the house and went to the chamber of, what does it say? Now, therefore, let us make a covenant with God to put away all the wives and such are born of them. You are not supposed to send the children away. According to the counsel of the Lord, they asked God, but if you read this, God never answered them. If we're going to be technical, and of those that tremble at the commandment of our God, and let it be done according to the law. It's not done according to the law, because the law states this right here. Neither shalt thou make marriages with them, whatever, but it gives you the nations. Now let's see if we can find the nations that Ezra had married them off to. Hold on. Okay, let's go to Ezra 9. So we can give you understanding on this law. Because there are some people who believe you have to have an Israelite mother or a Jewish mother. It can't be correct if we're going to look at this law right here. And then some people are going to say, well, Ezra sent women away. Let's look at it, right? So we're in Deuteronomy. We're in Torah portion Ki Tetsei. Let's track this whole thought. I want to show you how to research your thought and track a thought and approve your point when you're moving with the scriptures. This is Deuteronomy 21, at the 10th verse. It says, when thou goest off to battle against thy enemies, and the Lord thy God deliver them into thy hand, and thou carry them away captives, and thou seest among them captives a woman of goodly form, and thou hast desire unto them, and would have take her to be thy wife. Right? Now, if you wanted to say Well, this law only applies for war. I won't argue with you, right? If you said that right there, if you said this law only applies for the case when you're mightier and you're in war, I won't argue with you. I like to play the technical game. But this law only lists 7 nations. It doesn't say anything outside of these 7 nations. God said, don't marry these people, the 7 nations, the Hittite, Girgashite, Amorite, Canaanite, Perizzite, Hivite, Jebusite. 7 nations greater and mightier than you. So if he says all nations, then it would have made sense. He listed these 7 nations, right? Specifically. So let's see this right here. It says, and then there arose of the chief. Wait, hold on. When we go to, let's go to Ezra 9. Now these were there of the princes that drew near, saying, the people of Israel, the priests and the Levites. Now we understand the Kohanes had to marry an Israelite woman. They could not marry any of these women. Now let's read this. It says, have separated themselves from the people of the lands and doing according to their abominations, even of the Canaanites, the Hittites. The people of Israel, the priests and the Levites, have not separated themselves from the people of the land, doing according to their abominations, even the Canaanite, the Hittite, the Perizzite, the Jebusite, the Amorite, the Moabite, the Egyptians. These people were people we could marry. And the Amorites. It says, for they have taken their daughters of themselves and for their sons, so that the holy seed have mingled themselves with the peoples of the land, and the hand of the princes, the rulers, have been first in his faithlessness, right? So unless you're considering only the Levites were supposed to send those women away, or the Kohanes, then I don't know where you draw that from, because that was a conflation. Let's go here. Let's go to Nehemiah. In those days also I saw the Jews who had married women of Ashdod, Ammon, and Moab. And their children spoke half of Ashdod, and not, let's see who Ashdodians are. Ashdod were Philistines. So they sent away women, children that had absolutely nothing to do with Canaan. The Philistines were not Canaanites. They didn't even descend from those people. The Philistines are actually people from Europe. Let's show you who the Philistines are. Read this.
The Philistines were an ancient Aegean people, known from the Hebrew Bible, who migrated to the southern coast of Canaan in the late Bronze Age, 12th century BCE. DNA studies of remains from the Philistine cemetery at Ashkelon show that they were originally from southern Europe, with genetic links to the populations in Greece, Sardinia, and Iberia, Spain, and Portugal.
These people that they made them send away, some of them had nothing to do with it. And the prophet, if you understand the prophets, corrected that action. Let's see what the prophet said, because the Philistines were over here. And remember, in the book of Judges, they frowned upon Samson not marrying an Israelite woman, but they still went and got a wife for him of the Philistines. And his family was righteous people. That's why the Malachim came and spoke to them. So let's see here. Let's go here. Let's go to Malachi. This is Malachi chapter 2. It's going to talk about the priests of Ezra's time. What does it say?
And now, this is for you. Wait, and now this commandment is for you, O ye priests. If you will not hearken, if you will not lay it to heart to give glory unto my name, saith the Lord of hosts, then will I send a curse unto you, and I will curse your blessings. Yea, I curse them, because you do not lay it to heart. Behold, I will rebuke the seed of your heart, and will spread dung upon your faces, even the dung of your sacrifices, and ye shall be taken away unto it. Know then that I have sent this commandment unto you, that my covenant may be with Levi, saith the Lord of hosts. My covenant was with him of life and peace, and I gave them to him. And for fear, and he feared me, and was afraid of my name. The law of truth was in his mouth, and unrighteousness was not found in his lips. He walked with me in peace and uprightness, and did turn many away from iniquity. For the priest's lips should keep knowledge, and they should seek the law at his mouth, for he is a messenger of the Lord of hosts.
Now, the priests were supposed to already know the law. So a Kohen knows he's not supposed to marry a woman that's a non-Israelite. So when Ezra condemned the priests and the Levites, right, the Levite priests, that didn't separate themselves from the people, that was right. Let's go to that law here. The window king, man. So when it says the priest is supposed to keep knowledge, they're supposed to know the law because they're the teachers of the law. If you're the teacher of the law, you can't be found doing trivial, silly things that everyone else was doing. 21. Okay. Let's see where we're at. Come on. Go here. Seven.
They shall not take a woman that is a harlot or profane. Neither shall they take a woman put away from her husband, for he is holy unto his God. Thou shalt sanctify himself therefore, for he offereth the bread of thy God. He shall be holy unto thee, for I, the Lord, who sanctify you, am holy. And the daughter of any priest, if she profane herself by playing the harlot, she profaneth her father, she shall be burnt with fire.
Okay. Go to 14.
A widow, or one divorced, or a profane woman, or a harlot, leave shall he not take, but a virgin of his own people shall he take to wife.
So he's supposed to take, the high priest, a virgin of his own people. So this is a reflection of that law right here, where they're not following the commands of the Father. Let's close that out. So they were marrying Philistines, Ashdodian women, according to Nehemiah. And what is this? So Nehemiah said they were marrying Ashdodians. In Ezra, it says they were marrying Egyptians. So those are the kids that should have been sent out. But let's go to Malachi. Let's read what he says. This was the prophet of the time. Let's go.
Have we not all one Father? Have not one God created
Right.
us?
Therefore, I have made a contemptible and base before all the people according as ye have not kept my laws and have respective persons in the law. Because they were following the person who brought up the law that they should send the women away and their children away, when all of the women and the children didn't have anything to do with that, right? You're supposed to go with exactly what the law states. This is what Malachi is condemning the priests for them doing, right? Come on.
Have we not all one Father? Have not one God created us? Why do we deal treacherously every man against his brother, profaning the covenant of our fathers? Judah have dealt treacherously, and an abomination is committed in Israel and in Jerusalem. For Judah have profaned the holiness of the Lord which he loveth, and have married the daughter of a strange God.
So these are the women that weren't supposed to be married. Let's go.
May the Lord cut off to the man that doeth this, him that calleth, and him that entereth out of the tents of Jacob, and him that offereth an offering unto the Lord of hosts.
Okay, come on.
And this further ye do. Ye cover the altar of the Lord with tears, with weeping, and with sighing.
Verse 14.
Yet ye say, wherefore? Because the Lord hath been witness between thee and the wife of thy youth, against whom thou hast dealt treacherously, though she is thy companion, and the wife of thy covenant.
So you made an agreement with this woman here and sent her away following another ruling that doesn't necessarily align with what the Torah said, because the Torah gave you the 7 nations that you were not supposed to marry. Ashdodian was not one of them, and Egyptians was not one of them. We have laws where you can be with an Egyptian and a kid is in a congregation. Sorry. It wasn't listed as one of the nations that you couldn't marry. So sending them away were incorrect, and that's what the prophet Malachi is here to discuss. Right? So when we go all of that, just to get through one law, and it says, then thou shalt bring her home to thy house and shalt shave her head and pare her nails. So when you get the woman that you from the nation that you've conquered, you bring her to your house, you shave her hair, pare her nails, means you humble her, right? And she shall put on the raiment of her she shall put the raiment of her captivity from off her and remain in thy house and bewail her father and her mother a full month, right? And it shall be, if thou have no delight in her, then thou shalt let her go whether she will, and thou shalt not sell her at all for money. Thou shalt not deal with her as a slave, because thou hast humbled her. Sorry, that when you laid with her, you humbled her. You took her hair, you did everything, and then you have humbled her. Now, this law shows you that you don't necessarily have to have an Israelite mother to be an Israelite. Because if you can conquer a people, take the woman, and after 30 days, and it shows you something about the psychology and the loyalty of most women. Most women, people get upset when I said this before. Loyalty is not something that is inherent to women. Loyalty is something that's taught to women, because there's no man on his right mind with a loyal bone in his body that will see his entire family killed, marry into the nation that killed his family, and raise their family happily ever after with the people. But women have the capacity to do this. That's why I say women are not inherently loyal, and it's not a bad thing that a woman is not inherently loyal. All the traits that you have in a woman is an empty vessel, and you pour into her what you want her to be. Those women that we were not supposed to marry were already poured into Canaanites, Hittites, Perizzites, Jebusites, Amorites, Moabites. I'm sorry, not Amorites. I'm reading from the wrong page. Sleek out, Father. Mixing and mangling. Where's the 7 nations? The 7 nations greater and mightier than us. Now, I've heard one excellent explanation that when you are since it says greater and mightier, when you're in a state of not being as strong as the nations, you can't marry the women. But when you are in a position where you are the stronger party, you can marry the women because your culture is more dominant. I'll accept that one too. That one sounds like it makes sense. That's why when you go to war and conquer people, you're culturally more dominant because you've already conquered them in war. Whereas in this rendition of the law, it's saying 7 nations greater and mightier than you. And they say any nation that's greater and mightier than you falls under the 7 nations greater and mightier than you. I could somewhat comprehend that and vibe with that. But for the most part, Ezra and Nehemiah had listed people that weren't necessarily in the group. And Malachi came to let Israel know what they had done. So when you read Ezra, you have to understand that he was not a prophet. He didn't get the word from God. God never actually responds to him. This is him talking to God in words, right? He's not doing a direct communication with God. More than this is a narrative of what happened during the time of Ezra, where Malachi, the prophet who lived during the time of Ezra, was actually communicating directly from God. So his words are from the creator of heaven and earth. Let me see if I can find the 2 brothers that spoke against it. And Ezra arose and made all the chief priests, the Levites, and all Israel to swear that they would do so according to this word. You had to swear to do so according to this word, to put the wives away, because it was not what the original law was. I don't have to swear to keep the Shabbat. I have to just keep it. That's the commandment. I don't have to swear to not eat pork. I only have to swear, make a vow for something that was an addition, something that I'm adding. Like right now, I created a vow for discipline where I work out an hour a day except Shabbat, and I read the Torah an hour a day for Shabbat up until a certain time period. That's a vow because God didn't command me to do those things. So I did that as something to put a precaution on. So it says, and Ezra arose and made the chief priests, and Ezra rose up before the house of God and went to the chamber of Janiah and mourned. I want to find the 2 brothers that did not agree. Now listen to this. What does it say?
Only Jonathan, the son of Asahel, and Jahaziah, the son of Tikva, stood up against this matter, and Meshullam and Shabbatai, the Levite, helped them.
So these brothers said, that's not what the law said. We don't have women that's even supposed to be taken away from the law. How are you going to now tell us we got to send away our wives and our children with women that have nothing to do with that law? Now, remember what the Torah says. The Torah says, don't follow a multitude to do evil. So just because everyone did it, that doesn't mean it was correct. Because we see Malachi coming right behind them on the tail end and telling them, y'all the priests, y'all don't know the Torah? Y'all don't know y'all not supposed to send away these women? These women had nothing to do with that. And then you made other people swear to do it. That's why Ezra made them swear to do it. And if you notice, during this whole conversation, God never answered them and says this makes sense. This was something they did. An Ashdodian is a Philistine. There's no prohibition on marrying a Philistine. She's not even from Canaan. So you couldn't even say she's a Canaanite because the Philistines are people who migrated to Canaan. So it didn't make sense on any front. But people go here because they don't have a full grasp or understanding of the Torah in the moving parts. So get back here. When you marry that woman that's a non-Israelite, like a Philistine. So if you conquered those people and you took their daughter to be your wife, right? And you found no delight in her and let her go. You don't sell her as a slave. That's what this law is talking about. Now, here's the ramifications of potentially marrying a woman that's a non-Israelite. If a man have 2 wives, one loves and the other hated. Kiti chayin ishir taisinai nasisiga narashim wa ahor va ahtar no wa ahta wa ahat she noar. We adore the Lord about me wa abo wa hashno ar wa hayar havir harben hakor lashnia. Right? So the firstborn, it says, if a man have two wives, one beloved and the other hated, they have borne him, and they have borne him children. So they both borne him banim, right? Children. Both the beloved and the hated. So if a man has two wives, so let's say he went to war and he got with that Philistine woman, conquered their people, destroyed them. And then he got her at war. But he goes back to his people, and as a reward, someone says, oh, man, you fought valiantly. I want you to marry my daughter. If he got the Philistine woman pregnant first, now, mind you, you killed her family. You destroyed her land and took over everything. It's going to be hard to believe that she's going to actually follow the way that you're doing. And you're going to not have children that are contemptible, that have issues with you when they understand your history. It's going to be a dichotic relationship. It says, if a man have two wives, one beloved and one hated, they have borne him children, both children of the hated, and first, both the beloved and the hated. If the firstborn son be hers that was hated. So if the woman that you hate, right? If her son is the firstborn, let's say it's the Philistine woman, you cannot do this. Then it shall be in the day that he causeth his sons to inherit that which he hath, he may not take the son of the beloved, the firstborn, before the son of the hated, who is the firstborn. So if he married a Philistine woman, and in marrying a Philistine woman, he don't really like how it turned out, but he had a kid with her. He had a son with her. And then he gets with an Israelite wife and loves her. He can't now give the Israelite wife son more or make that child a firstborn over the Philistine woman's son. Your firstborn is your firstborn, no matter what nation it comes from, which shows you how you can prove your father determines who the child is. And if the firstborn child was with an Israelite woman and the secondborn child was with a woman from a nation, and he loved the foreign woman more than he loved the Israelite woman, or he hated the Israelite woman, then it would be a situation where the Israelite woman's child is the firstborn. Your firstborn is your firstborn. Verse 17, what it said?
17?
Mm-hmm.
But he shall acknowledge the firstborn, the son of the hated, by giving him a double portion of all that he hath. For he is the first fruit of his strength. The right of the firstborn is his.
And how could a man have two wives and have a problem with one? Because hate is a strong word. It's actually around right before we get to 30. Let's show you this. Show you it's possible. And this was a law in retrospect to show what happened with our fathers and what was wrong. See, we consider ancient to be correct. Ancient is not always correct. And the Father corrected the ways of our Father when he wrote laws like this. right? Because we think because it's in the book that the practice made sense. And every practice within the Torah did not make sense. Wayere, and he saw Yahweh, key, because she know the hatred, Leah. Leah was hated. Wayiftar and opened up Rachma, her womb, Warachel, Ikera, and she was barren. Akira, and she was barren, right? So Leah was hated because she took the place of her sister and pulled a catfish move. And Raquel was loved. And as we see, as we go forward, our father was very biased. Let's read this here. Let's prove it. Read.
These are the generations of Joseph, being 17 years old.
These are, you're skipping words.
These are the generations of Jacob. Joseph, being 17 years old, was feeding the flock with his brethren, being still a lad even with the sons of Bilhah, and with the sons of Zilpah, his father's wives. And Joseph brought...
Verse 3.
Now Israel loved Joseph more than all his children, because he was the son of his old age, and he made him a coat of many colors.
So he loved Joseph more than all his children, but Joseph came from the wife he loved. So Joseph was getting preferential treatment before the brothers did what they did wrong. It says he was the son of his old age, but Benjamin was younger than Joseph. So we have to stop conflating ancient with this was a good practice. Like when we go to Ezra, ancient does not mean it made sense. Something in, just because something is done in the Torah, it doesn't necessarily align with what the Torah says. Just because something is done in a Tanakh, that doesn't make it Torah. An act done in the Tanakh can be an act done in the Tanakh. A man sacrificed his daughter when she came out of the barn. Who would replicate that action? Every time you see something, a Levite priest cut up his concubine because she ran away. Do we do that now because it's written in the book?
No.
Every time you see something, you don't take that and make a doctrine out of it. Come on. But if you have so the firstborn is the firstborn son, right? No matter what. But God has a counter move to your move, because when your son understands that you hate his mother and that he has to have a double inheritance, he may find himself in a position where he will not listen to you anymore because you have to bless him no matter what. You got to take care of him anyway. So God wrote a law for that clown. And what happens?
If a man have a stubborn and rebellious son that will not hearken to the voice of his father or the voice of his mother, and so they chastise him, will not hearken unto them.
So he won't listen to his father because he said, you don't really love my mother. And he don't listen to his mother because he says, you're silly because you are with a man that don't love you. So he looks down on both of them. He's not going to listen to them, even though they chastise him, they beat him. Right? And then what happens?
Then shall his father and his mother lay hold on him, and break him out unto the elders of his city, and unto the gate of his place. And they shall say unto the elders of his city, this our son is a stubborn and rebellious son. He doth not hearken to our voice. He is a glutton and a drunkard. And all the men of his city shall stone him with stones, that he die. So shalt thou put away the evil from the midst of thee, and all Israel shall hear and fear.
So this is evil. Evil permeates and moves faster through a society than anything that you can imagine. You were supposed to take your son if you found yourself in that situation where he's trying to play the rules against you. And you're supposed to bring him before the elders of the city. When he got to that point, oh yeah, he really was getting lit. He was a drunkard. The word there for drunkard is Chobe or Sobe. And he was supposed to be stoned with stone. So he said, I'm going to eat what I want. I'm going to drink. I'm not going to do anything. It doesn't make a difference. I'm going to get blessed anyway. I'm going to be just a bum now. He says, you take him and you get him out of there. So the example is made and all Israel can hear and fear. And then it says what?
In all, and if a man have committed a sin worthy of death, and he be put to death, and thou hang him on a tree, his body shall not remain all night upon the tree, but thou shalt surely bury him the same day. For he that is hanged is a reproach unto God, that thou defile not thy land, which the Lord thy God giveth thee for an inheritance.
Now, I want to give you understanding on this verse, right? A man is hung on a tree. His body shall not remain all night upon the tree. Listen to what it's about to say. But thou shalt surely bury him the same day. I thought the day started at night. Do you see what I'm saying here? If the day started at night and you hung him and it says don't leave him there all night, he has to be done before the day begins. Sunrise to Moses in this verse creates a new day. Now, this is what it says in English. I'm going to be fair. It's not quite worded that way in Hebrew. Lo t'iliv nivle tor ar ha'itz. Ki karbor tikbaren nur bar yom. In the morning, ha-ho. Ki karlar Elohim tiloi. We Lord ti harmi tame ti tarmes God et adamekar. I'm saying ad mechar arshe Yahovah Eloheka notin lak nihale. When I was studying day and night, this was one of the verses that came up. The English is like a pretty bad. This is a lot of. It leaves a lot to be desired with the Hebrew. It says, "Lo." Let's go here. Lounge, pass the night, right? Abide. They implying that it stays all night, right? Lulin, right? Because you lounge in the nighttime. So it's do not all night. Nevelto, this is corpses. I don't know what they doing there. We got to do it like this now, family. We're gonna copy. You're gonna have a lot of slow burns for you. Carcass. Yup, I said corpse is carcass. Okay. So it says lo tilelo talin. Don't lounge. Don't allow a corpse, right? Al upon. This word is upon. Ha-H, a tree. Key, because Kadabor. Bury, because bury. Tek baregnu. To bury. Bayom, a day, in the day. Ha-hu, he, ki, is a curse. I don't know what I'm like, valification. He is a curse to God. So it says, don't all night, right, allow a body how ha'etz on a tree. Because, right, you shall bury future tense in the yom hahu, that he is there. Ki chalat Elohim. He is a curse because he's a curse to Elohim. So this translation, this is me giving you one, because the English doesn't say anything like this. The English says it in this way: his body shall not remain all night upon a tree, but thou shalt surely bury him the same day. If the person is hanged at night, right, or right before sunset, it's already a new day. If nighttime begins a day, then why does he have to be buried before, quote unquote, how day begins? In the day, by Yom. So, like I said, this translation isn't great because it's not really saying this, but just showing you they understood what a day and a night was. And that's me retranslating them for you so it doesn't sound, because if you go with what the English says, let me show you again why I translated it how I translated it. If you go with the English, then a day is a day and a night is a shut case. His body shall not remain all night upon a tree, but thou shalt surely bury him the same day. If you're burying him the same day and he was born that night, I mean he was hanging at night, that means when the sun comes up, they're telling you it's a new day. A new 24, not a new 24-hour circuit, because it was never that in ancient times. It was just day and night. So let's go. I like to be fair when we give the information. Deuteronomy 22. Come on.
Thou shalt not seize thy brother's ox or his thou shalt not seize thy brother's ox or his sheep being driven away, and hide thyself from him. Thou shalt surely bring them back unto thy brother. And if thy brother be not nigh unto thee, and thou know him not, then thou shalt bring it home to thy house, and it shall be with thee until thy brother will acquire it, and thou shalt restore it unto him.
So it's never yours. Something that you find from someone, you don't give it back. I've seen in the Mishnah, it says you have to return something that's your brother, so you don't have to return something that's a Gentile. That's a stupid logic, because stealing is stealing. Now I'm going to give you an example. If it says don't rob from the rich, does that mean I can rob the poor now? I mean, the Torah says don't rob or exploit the poor, so I can exploit the rich. Everything doesn't have a counterpoint to it. Sometimes you just read what it says. Verse 4.
Thou shalt not see thy brother's ox or his ass fallen down by the way, and hide thyself from him. Thou shalt surely help him to lift him up again.
On the Peshat level, this is literally talking about an ass. When we get to the deeper meanings of this is talking about helping your brother when he's in need. Any variation of help.
And women should not wear that which pertaineth unto a man, never shall a man put on a woman's garment. For whosoever doeth these things is an abomination unto the Lord thy God.
Ki yi kilid. Lo yi, it shall not exist. So call giver, a mighty, al isha, kali, the vessel got a bear al isha. It's not actually talking about wearing. This is a perfect translation, because it's ambiguous. That which pertaineth to a man, but it should be mighty man. So I won't say perfect. Lo yi do not exist. Kali, right? A vessel. When you have a cup is a vessel, a sword, anything like that, or Kali garaver, al isha, right? Upon a woman. So don't put anything of a mighty man, right, upon a woman. Show you what the word means. Where we at? Verse what?
5.
What is it with this, man? Y'all got a problem with this ism, huh? Some about these second words in this verse, man, y'all brothers got a problem with. Now we got to do it the old school way. What does it say?
Kili. Yeah, Kili. Noun masculine. Vessel, implement, utensil, article, equipment, tool, weapon.
Article. Let's see this.
Read this.
Yeah.
Okay. Armor bearer, artillery, bag, carriage, furnish, furniture, instrument, jewel that is made of, one from another, that which pertaineth, pot, sultry, sack, stuff, thing, tool.
This is all the uses of the word here. This is mentioned. I never saw it used as clothing. I got to be fair. And I looked into this because I like to teach what the Torah says. Now, culturally, no, it's always talking about this. I'm looking at it. When David had went to put on Saul's armor, he said, I think he used this word. And if I can see it, I'll show it. This might be it, 1 Samuel 17. So we can show you what this word means. And left David supplies his in the hands of the keeper of supply. Hakilim. This is what he left with them. So just so you can see the word used. So this word means what pertains to a mighty man, sword, weaponry, things like that. Right? Really talking about clothing, if we're being fair. Then it says, we load yibash yiver shimla isha. Keep going. Neither shall a mighty man put on a woman's garment. Right? Now, if you wanted to say, oh man, this is talking about more than just the weaponry, this is going to this. That's not what it says, but I understand why you have that connection right there. Come on.
6. If a bird's nest chance to be before it's eaten away, in any tree or on the ground, with young ones or eggs, and the dam sitting upon the young or upon the eggs, thou shalt not take the dam with the young. Thou shalt in any wise let the dam go, but the young thou mayest take unto thyself.
When you find a bird's nest and you find a mother with her eggs, if you take the mother and the eggs, you destroy the ecosystem. Mothers of mammals lose their infants or their offspring all the time in nature. But the cycle continues because the mother escapes. If the mother is captured and the dams, then you won't continue, and eventually the animal will go extinct. Come on.
Thou shalt in any wise let the dam go, but the young thou mayest take unto thyself, that it may be well with thee, and thou mayest prolong thy days. When thou buildest a new house, then shalt thou make a parapet for thy roof, that thou bring not blood upon thy house, if any man fall from thence.
Show you how this looks. This is not how you're supposed to make your house. This is how you're supposed to have your house when we live in the land. Supposed to have a fence on it so that no one falls off your house when working on it. Come on.
Thou shalt not sow thy vineyard with two kinds of seed, lest the fullness of the seed which thou hast sown be fortified together with the increase of thy vineyard.
If you have a field, you don't put watermelon and tomatoes on the same thing. They're two viney plants and they're going to fight each other and they're going to try to kill each other. You have to have a vineyard for one object and a vineyard for another object. You cannot sow it with mingled seeds. What does it say?
Thou shalt not plow with an ox or and an ass together.
Plowing with the ox and the ass means you have two people that's not carrying their load. Two animals. The ox is way bigger, so it's going to do way more. And if the ass is trying to perform, it's straining, so it's doing more than it can handle, trying to keep up with the ox. So you have to work with people who's equally yoked. Come on.
Thou shalt not wear a mingled stuff, wool and linen together.
Lo ti bar sha'anetz zarmir ward upashtim linen yadoh, ahad as one. Now, I used to believe you had to have 100% cotton, but it says lo tilbash, right? Sha'anetz. Sha'anetz is the word that means zaramir upashtim, wool and linen, yachad together, right? See what televash means. 11. What does it say?
A primitive root, properly wrap around, that is, by implication, to put on a garment or cloth, oneself or another, literally or figuratively.
Okay, so it says, do not clothe sha'anetz. And then it says, zarmir upashtim yadah. So this says, don't clothe yourself. Tav, I believe, should be a future tense. And it says, sha'anetz, which is a mixture of zamir, wool, upashtim, linen, yadah. You have one from an animal and you have one from the earth. And when you mix those two, scientifically, they actually cancel each other out. Now, you have this law in Leviticus, but it was really not defined well. We go to Leviticus 19. Echachotai tishmaro. Berchavteka lo tivar aikilaim. Two things. Shederka. Lo tazea, your field, kilaim, with two things. Ubage kilaim sha'anetz. See, everything else it says just two things. Kilaim is bringing two things together. It says, Ubaget, in your tunic or your baguette, kilaim, a mixture of two things. Right? It's not really mixture. Arev is the word mixture. Kilaim is like two things together. Sha'anetz, wool and linen, yogi elod, eleka, shall not come upon you. Right? Show you that this word means like I won't say mixture because that's Arab. I don't like to use the same definition for two different words. What does it say?
Mixtures, mixed kinds. Kilayim.
So it says, this is how you understand what words mean. Where we at? Where was that? Oh, Leviticus 19, right? Now, if sha'anetz means wool and linen, and kilayim means mixtures, you wouldn't need this word sha'anetz there because any two mixtures is automatically kilayim, right? So if you say, if kilayim means don't have, listen, let's read this again. This whole thing is telling you two mixtures, right? Ehahuktai, tishmaro, bahasterka, lo, tirba'ai kilayim shadeka, right? So that's cattle, right? Behimteka, two, the object is the two cattle, and the action is mixing them. You're not supposed to do that, right? Then it says lo tizrea, from the word zera, which means seed, right? So don't sow. This is, you're going to be your field, because that's where you put your seed, right? Lo tizera, tizra. Don't put your seed, kilayim, two different kinds. Don't put your field with two different mixtures of seeds, right? Then for clothes, for my people who's 100% cotton, because I was there with you. Ubaged, in your garment, because people wore tunics. Kilaim, a mixture of what? Sha'anetz. We never knew what sha'anetz was until you came to here, where it says lo ti bash sha'anetz. Oh, what sha'anetz? Zaramer uparsim yadal, as one. Wool and linen as one. So it says kilaim sha'anetz, mixing two things. Sha'anetz, lo ye'elah, shall not go upon eleka, upon yourself. You should not put up upon yourself. Come on.
Thou should not plow with an ox with.
No. I'm sorry. I got to start doing this to help you out.
Thou shalt make thee twisted cords upon the four corners of thy covering, wherewith thou coverest thyself.
This is one that brothers have to understand, the law of fringes. Most people, they accidentally get it right, but they conflate the two. Look. Let's look at the two commands for fringes. So you can understand how fringes could be one. Because I had brothers reach out to me when I wore my tunic with fringes like this. Let's show you why. I've even had a quote-unquote Jewish brother who's not worth mentioning sending my picture around. Is that brother doing halakha? That's the commandment? First of all, he should work on his speech, but instead he's worrying about how I wear my tzitzis. So let's read the commandment, right? And let's see. What does it say?
The Be'el Bene Yisrael wa
Speak to the children of Israel wa'amarta and say
Elechem
to them,
wa'ashu
you shall do lechem on zik fringe, twisted cords, right?
Al
Khanfe. What word is this? Let's look up this word. This word is not corner. They want you to believe this word is corner. It's the same word as this word, kanaf. Share the same root. Kanaf means what? Wing, extremity, edge, wing, border. They're going to put it as quarter, but a bird doesn't have a corner. A bird doesn't have a skirt. It's talking about wing. That's the first time the word is used. So when you see that, they share. What does it say here? This word is used where? Numbers what?
15 verse 38.
What does this word mean though? Wing. Wing or extremity. So when you see the word hanfe, this is a conjugation of your garment, of your wings. Al hanfe, on your wings, on the wings of your clothes. This is what the commandment says. Daber al bani Yisrael, speak unto the children of Israel, wa amarta, and say to them, Elohim is them, wa aso, you shall make, lehim, to them, zit, twisted cords, right? Al kanfe begedim. This is a baguette that I'm wearing. This is the wing of my clothes, right? Le dorotam wenartanu al zitzit, and put on them, on the zitzit, how kanaf, the wings of my garment, tefil tikele, and against it a cord of blue. You can wear fringes like this. This is what the commandment actually says for you to do. The commandment says you put fringes on the wings of your garment. How do we know that? No. Let's look at ancient Israelites. This is King Yehu. Shalman, we're going to show you how Israelites wore their garments. What's this right here? These little lines. These are fringes. These are tzitzits. Let's go to some more images. What's this right here? Fringes on the border of the garment, on the wings of the garment. Notice how the garments look like wings, because that's how Israelites wore their clothes, where it looked like wings. So it wasn't just there, it was here too. Oh, wait, those weren't Israelites. Let me find the Israelites in this image. That's a Near East culture. I want to make sure we don't leave no stone unturned. Hold on, let's go there. Let's do this. See if I can find the image I need. Oh. So you can wear these fringes, huh? See this? On your winged garments. Right? Some would even akin them to these right here. But notice you don't see 4 strings at the bottom of their garment because there are no corners on the bottom of this garment. This is only for a 4-winged garment. This is not for a garment with no corners. You don't have to cut your garment to put fringes on it. If the garment doesn't have corners, then you put it on the wings of the garment that covers you. Right? So let's get back to this law so we can understand. You get a lot of judgment from the halakha boys, right? So it says that Albani Yisrael wa Amartim Elohim wa Asolerihim Zit Zit Al Khanfe on the wings, upon the wings. Begadim Ben Derhim on your garments, Ledarotam through your generations. Wanatano and give Al Zit Zit upon the fringes. Tekel, a cord of blue. Right? So now let's look at Deuteronomy's version of that law. Because it's not actually saying the same thing. Thou shalt make twisted cords upon the 4-corner covering. Now let's see if the word kanaf is there too. Right? Gidolim, the word zit isn't even there. Gidelim means great from the word gadol. This word is only used one other time in the entire Tanakh. And let's show it to you. Verse 12, right? What happened? Did I just close out the window?
So.
The word we're looking up is Gidolim. Gidolim is the word here. See how many other times it's used. It's translated as fringe here, and then it's used as wraiths when you talk about the curtains to the temple. This verse, 1 Kings 17, is talking about the curtains to the temple. Read this, please.
And nets of checker work, and refts of chain work, for the chapiters which were upon the top of the pillars, 7 for the one chapiter, and 7 for the other chapiter.
So this word is not fringe. So when they say you have to put fringes on your 4-corner garments, it doesn't actually say that. If you going with just what it says here. Gidelim is from the root word gadol. To grow, to become great, to become important. That's what gadol means, right? So whatever is on this right here at the corner has to be a bigger, longer fringe. So if you have fringes like this going around your border and you have a garment with 4 corners, how do you just get me? If you have fringes like this, right? The Torah says, put zit around the kanaf of your garment, right? So these are zit around the kanaf of your garment, and put tekelet, a cord of blue, over against it, right? Now, when it comes to the corner of your garment, if you have a garment with 4 corners that is not round, the corner has to be longer and bigger than this one because it has 4 wings or 4 corners. So it has to be longer at the edge. And we get that understanding from the word God gidolim, which means gadol, which means greater, which means bigger. So even if you have these fringes, then you put the long fringe. And I'll give you an example using this. You see how I have these fringes here on this garment? These fringes here, this is a gidolim. This is a longer version of it. So at the edge of this garment with the fringes, these are the fringes around the border of the garment, and this is a gidolim. This makes it a longer string. So what I've seen Israelites do, and remember, this long string right here does not need a cord of blue. The gidolim does not need a cord of blue. This fringe right here, these fringes, if it was the regular garment from Numbers 15, you would need tekelet. You need tekelet when you put the fringes all around the garment. Tekelet does not go on the gidolim because the verse does not say that. But Israelites follow Yehudi and they conflate 2 commandments to make a Frankenstein commandment where you have to have this on the corner of your garment and it got to have a cord of blue. That's not what the commandment says. So let's look at this so we can show you. Oh, let's go to get where I'm sorry. How you screen share it, son? It's my brother Saul. Shalom, Saul. It's my brother right there. My brother Moshe Shabbat Shalom, my key. Peace and blessings, King. I got some. Torah. Oh, so gidolim is expanse. So this is the long fringe. Ta'aseh, you shall make or do. Lech al arba. It says on 4. It has to have 4. So if you put it, if it has 4, and look, arba is the word for 4. Hanfot, of your wings, right? Kisoteka. This word is used in Psalms 82 when it says the covering. So in your, let's read it slow. Long fringes, gidolim, because what goes on a curtain? A curtain doesn't have little baby fringes. The curtain to the temple will have giant, huge fringes. From the root word gidol, gidolim, right? Long fringes, ta'aseh, you shall make lecha on yourself. Al, upon, arba, the 4 kanfot, winged, chosekteka, coverings on anything that covers you that has 4 corners, right? You have to put the long fringes on. Arshir tikasek ba, right? That covers you. So that's one commandment for one outfit. Then when that's for a covering, that's for like something like this talit. That's the commandment for that garment. Now we have a different garment. It says, Darbir, speak al to Bani Yisrael, to the children of Israel. Wa amarta, and say elehim to them. Wa aso lehim, they are to make to them zit, twisted cords, right? Al kanfe, on the wings. It doesn't say it has to have 4 here. This could be a round garment. It doesn't have to have 4 corners here. This just says around the entire wing of your garment, the entire border of your garment. Al kanfai ben dehim, right? On your bagadim, let doratam for all generations. When not nud al zizi haki nafpatel tekelet. So when you see Israelites in ancient times, this is how they wore their outfits. This is how they wore their fringes. So when you see me wearing my fringes, it's like that. You don't really find images of the four tzitzits on your garment. That is, hold on, let's show you. These are the images that we have of Israelites. We're going to get away from that. They trying to load us up for days. Let's see the Israelites. And this is an image of here in this museum. It's actually from this museum. Look at their garment. Now, if you want to say this is the raiment of their captivity, I won't even argue with you. Okay, if you want to go there, we can say that's the raiment of their captivity. But I want you to understand something. How we do things, when you really look at it and take a fresh set of eyes, you'll see how we do things is not reflective of what the Torah actually says. We have traditions that we keep. And your tradition is cool. But I had a brother say, where's your tekelah? I says, brother, do you know the garment that I need to tell it on? And then when I broke it down to him, I says, Moses never said on the four, Moses said, thou shalt put twisted cords. This is actually a good translation, twisted cords, because it doesn't say zit, upon the four corners of thy covering, which thou cover thyself. It doesn't say put a cord of blue, because it's for two different garments. Now, if you want to say your bagadim covered yourself, that's fine. But this got to have four corners. In Numbers, it didn't say four corners. The word four corners is not mentioned here. It says, speak to the children of Israel and bid them that they make for them throughout their generation fringes in the corners of their garments. And this word is not corners. This word is wings or borders or extremities of their garment, and put with the fringes of each wing a thread of blue. So we have a Frankenstein commandment that we do. That is not what the Torah says. And then we judge people who don't do the Frankenstein commandment with us. The long fringes on your four corners do not need a cord of blue. You need a cord of blue for the fringes that go around your entire border. Come on. Read.
If a man take a wife and go in, if any man take a wife and go in unto her and hate her, and lay wanton charges against her, and break up an evil name upon her, and say, I took this woman, and when I came nigh to her, I found not her the tokens of virginity.
So I found she wasn't a betolim, from the word to go into. Come on.
Then shall the father of the damsel and her mother take and bring forth the tokens of the damsel's virginity unto the elders of the city in the gate.
So you were supposed to get the sheet that showed she was a virgin. That's ancient practice. Brothers can come with that. Your hymen don't break. And brother, you got to figure that one out. Because if the brother bring your daughter up on these charges in the land, she getting up out of here. Now, unless the Udim and the Thudim come out, that's the only way it's going to save her. If she can't prove it, if she was a virgin and the hymen broke, doing some other activity, keep your daughters with women's activity. If you notice, when women ride horses, they ride side saddle. They don't ride with their legs wide open. They're supposed to ride with their legs on both sides of the horse. Come on. This is how women rode horses. So if your daughter was a virgin, you wouldn't have to worry about her breaking her hymen with her legs split, bouncing up and down on a horse. You would ride this way. What does it say?
A woman riding a horse-side saddle, meaning she is sitting with both legs to one side of the horse, using a specialized saddle that has a leaping head and a fixed head for stability.
So that's how you know this is ancient things that you got to do to protect your child if that's what you're going to run with. Come on.
And lo, and the elders of the city shall take the man. What were we on? 17?
If then the father of the damsel.
Then shall the father of the damsel and her mother take and bring forth the tokens of the damsel's virginity unto the elders of the city in the gate.
Okay.
And the damsel's father shall say unto the elders, I gave my daughter unto this man to wife, and he hated her.
So he hated the wife because he lied on her.
And lo, he have laid wanton charges, saying, I found not in thy daughter the tokens of virginity, and yet these are the tokens of my daughter's virginity. And they shall spread the garment before the elders of the city. And the elders of the city, of that city, shall take the man and chastise him.
This is an interesting law because anytime you accuse someone of a crime, you're supposed to get the punishment of what you accuse them for if they prove that you didn't do it. But God knows how irrational brothers can be. And for some reason, don't ask me, you don't actually get put to death for this. Because if she's found wrong, she would be put to death. So you would think inherently, if you're accusing a woman of something that would get her killed, knowing that you're lying, you should be put to death. But this is one of the rare cases where God did not prescribe death. Because the word chastise, I think, means to put hands on a beat. But let's see. Discipline. No, this is more than just talking to. To teach in an NFL STEM, it means to teach. So you're supposed to say, you don't do that, brother. Discipline. Yeah, I'm thinking discipline is getting physical. I'm going to go there. Punish. That's a good one. It's hard to believe you accuse this sister and nothing happened to you whatsoever. Corrective, instruct. Maybe they do just talk to him, but that shows the mercy of the Creator. Come on.
And they shall find him 100 shekels of silver, and give them unto the father of the damsel, because he hath brought up an evil name upon a virgin of Israel.
Against a virgin daughter of Israel. See, we have to understand, brothers, our women have to be protected, man. Listen to what God says. God ain't say because they did it to anybody. It says, and for my people who was following Isaiah yesterday, right? Wada anshu order to me or kisef, when not no, le aravi ha ne'ara. See, this is why I say I don't agree with the sages, right? Now, ne'ara is from the word na'ar, which means a child that's in teenage years, right? Like David was an R. Girl, damsel, female. What's the root of that word? The root of that word is nahar. Nahar. A boy, a lad, a servant, a youth. Now let's see when this word was used. They'll put it as child, but we know he's a little bit older than the child. Or anything as a child. Hebrew doesn't really separate in that degree. Let's go here. Man. Where is it in Samuel's? Find Samuel's for me. 1 Samuel 16, right? Then one of the young men said, oh, that wasn't talking to David. That was talking about David. Let's go here. Where do we find 1 Samuel 16 at? Where do we find 1 Samuel at? Where am I?
16?
Yeah.
Where?
Okay, let's go 21. This is when they went to war. And David says to him, like the priest, have thou commanded me the business, and said, let no man show you any business. Oh, this is when David was on a run. And what I have commanded thee, I have appointed my servants, the young men, to such and such a place. Now, we know this isn't a little child because David wouldn't be on a run with little kids. These have to be people that's around his age, like 19, 18, teenagers, right? Why is this important? Why is this word ha-na'ara so important here? Ha-na'ara, right? The damsel is called the young woman. Now, let's go here. People say, oh, you don't agree with the sages? Let me go here. Hold on. Let me get it for you. Oh, here we go. Who did this guy say was oh, they said Isaac took a wife that was 3, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so let's look at this. Oh, they said Jacob too. Wahane ara. This is a teenage girl. This is not a 3-year-old. We saw the same word used before, right? This is not the mission of madness. So now that we can see, it says, and the servant ran, and it says, and the damsel was very fair to look upon, a virgin, never had a man known her, and let down from the fountain and filled her pitcher and came up. So Isaac was 40 and she was in her teens, right? I don't think my pops was a pervert, so I'll put about 17, 18, man. You know, hey, it is what it is, maybe even 19. But let's go there. Let's see another. So when they tell you that, I had a rabbi say, those ediphounds, like going in on our forefathers. I'm like, yo, this dude is sick, man. He'll make our forefathers seem like perverts to make these guys look correct. Let me see where it is. I'm looking for the next time the word nahar is used. I'm not gonna waste too much time on this. We about to just keep it moving. I'll get back to it. But Rivka was not 3 years old, according to the Hebrew. The word na'ar is used, which is used to denote a woman in her teenage years or a young woman. Close that, please, someone. And is used there, and is used concerning David, and is used concerning. So that means David was on a run with 3-year-old boys. If Nahara is a 3-year-old girl, then I mean David was on a run for his life with 3-year-old children. It doesn't make logical sense, man. Come on.
But if this thing be true, that the tokens of virginity were not found in the damsel, Then they shall bring out the damsel. Wait, I missed something right there. Yeah. And she shall be his wife. He may not put her away all his days. But if this thing be true, that the tokens of virginity were not found in the damsel, that they shall bring out the damsel to the door of her father's house, and the men of the city shall stone her with stones, that she die, because she hath wrought a wanton deed in Israel, to play the harlot of her father's house. So shalt thou put up with the evil from the midst of thee.
I've always wondered what word they use for wanton. What verse was that? What verse was that?
21.
Let's go to 21. Do they use Kesalut? Because they put folly over there. To fashion, what? Where was I? 21? What verse was that?
22, 21.
Seamless folly. Okay. Nebela. Folly. Vile. Okay. So she wrote folly in Israel. Just did something that was stupid. Let's go.
And if a man be found lying with a woman married to a husband, then they shall both of them die. The man that lay with the woman and the woman, so shall thou put away the evil from Israel.
Doesn't matter if you didn't know she was married. Does not matter. Because there's no way you can do this act if you're not thoroughly vetting. If you can never be guilty of this if you thoroughly vet a woman. If you go to do things the right way, how the Torah prescribed, you will go to meet her father. Not how the Torah prescribed, culturally. You will go to meet her father, you go to meet her mother, you go to meet her family. Now, if someone can tell me I met a father and mother, they all said she wasn't married, then I'm like, okay, brother, well, we got to get the Udim and the Thudim on this one. We got to go before the Lord on this. Because if everyone's saying that she ain't married, then what we going to do? But if you go meet a woman at the club and y'all go have a little fun in the car, and then you find out she married, just know you liable now. And no one feels bad for you because you were a whoremonger. And you doing things that ought not be done in Eretz Yisrael or amongst Yisrael. Come on.
If there be a damsel that is a virtuous betrothed unto a man, and a man find her in the city and lie with her.
So a man finds her in the city. Now, if you've never been to Israel, you will never get the context of this law. Sometimes you literally have to go to understand what's being said. The city is so packed and so congested, it's damn near impossible for something to happen to you without no one hearing. This is why the Lord's written this way. Read it.
If there be a damsel that is a virgin betrothed unto a man, and a man find her in the city and lie with her, then ye shall bring them both out unto the gate of the city, and ye shall stone them with stones that they die. The damsel, because she cried not, being in
the city, being in the ear, you did not cry. Somebody's going to hear you. Somebody is going to hear you the way the ancient cities were set up. But you gotta go. I don't even want to pull up a picture. You just have to go there. Go there and go to Tel Arad, and then go to the city of David, and then you'll understand this law.
And the man, because he hath humbled his neighbor's wife, so thou shalt put out the evil from the midst.
So they're saying it's no way. First of all, for a man to assault you in the city, two things had to happen. Either you did not cry out, which means no one heard you and no one came to help you, or you were hiding and sneaking. Because the city is so congested, You can't go to the marketplace in Jerusalem, the marketplace in Tel Aviv today and find a cut alley or a corner. How could you find it then? Unless he took you and you didn't cry out, or you was with it and y'all slid off somewhere. Come on. Your sneaky link. Your sneaky link gonna get you and him killed. Come on.
But if the man find a damsel that's betrothed in the field, and the man take hold of her and lie with her, then the man only that lay with her shall die.
Let's give context. No one's hearing you here. This is like space. I don't want to give y'all perverts no ideas, but look at how much room this is. This is what, matter of fact, I'll use this. So y'all brother can understand what I say about going to these places on Shabbat. It has to be within a reasonable distance. Now, when you go to Israel, you'll see land like this for days. Now, I've raised this question to people. I tell you, I don't say you cannot gather on the Shabbat, because the Shabbat doesn't prohibit it. But every one of these trees is twice my arm's length in diameter, right? If you live here and your neighbor lives there, are you commanded to have a holy convocation with him?
No.
Think about how far. See, you have to go to Israel to see how ridiculous some of these concepts that we still carry are. It's utterly ridiculous. Now let's go here. Hold on. Let's use this. Now, when Nehemiah and Ezra, I want y'all to understand something. When Nehemiah and Ezra told the Israelites to gather on the Shabbat, they lived in a walled city in Jerusalem. Nehemiah went back to Jerusalem to build up the walled city. God says, if you get assaulted here, you was down with it. It's no way you do something here and no one hears this. Look how congested ancient cities used to be. Now, then God says, but if something happens here, then it's the God's fault, because he's a pervert. Because he knows you're not going to scream out help, and no one helps you in this city. But if you scream out help here, there's a possibility that no one heard you. And if they did, they couldn't find you. Now, if this is my property, and I'm from the tribe of Manasseh, and my brother lives over here, and I had to rest my donkey on the Shabbat, was I allowed to travel from here to here, up and down the hills in the hot Israeli sun to go pray? Or is that an understanding Nehemiah and Ezra had for a walled city? Jerusalem was a walled city when they read in the middle of the city. Nehemiah didn't call people from the field to come for a holy convocation because the word is not there in Hebrew. And back to the sister, God says, He knows how much land it is between people, inheritance. So he said if a woman is assaulted in the field, she's exonerated. Because he knows she could have cried and no one could have heard her. Why? Because no one lives close to each other in the field. But he knows how close it is when you live in a walled city. So it's your fault if something happens because someone heard you if you actually cried out. Come on. What happened?
He found her in the field. The betrothed damsel cried, and there was none to save her.
And there was none to save her because she was damn near 5 miles from the next family. If it's too far that no one can save you, then clearly this ain't a place we gather on the Shabbat. Family, don't let people tell you don't go to Israel, man. If you want to understand your book, you have to go home. It's not imperative. You will get a better understanding if you go home. I'll put it that way. Come on.
If a man find a damsel that is a virgin, that is not betrothed, and lay hold of her, and lie with her, and they be found, then the man that lie with her shall give up unto the damsel's father 50 shekels of silver, and she shall be his wife, because he hath humbled her. He may not put her away all his days.
Let's go through this. Because Yimza, to find, to attain, right? To be found, to encounter, to light upon, to cause to find, to obtain. See how the word is used. To find, present, find out, come, meet, before, get, suffice, deliver, left, before, befallen, befell, catch, right? This is someone who seduced the sister. You're not going to be forced to lay with, be with your captive. Find with one at a time, how to each find Shekhev. Wait, am I at the right line? Keems if he finds a man, Na'ar, a woman, a girl, Betula, a virgin, Asher lo, Ora'ar, and engage. What is this word?
Kafas.
To manipulate. And he manipulates her. Wayeshev vad iman, meaning you know how the procedure goes. You know you're supposed to go to her father. What word is that we're looking at? Catch, handle, over, surely, surprise, take, seize, capture, caught. This didn't help the point. To manipulate, i.e. seize. This is what I was looking for. So it's showing you how it's done. hold on her and lie with her, and they be found. It's the context of this word. To be found. What does it say?
If a man find a damsel that is a virgin, that is not betrothed, and lay hold on her, and lie with her, and they be found, then the man that lie with her shall give unto the damsel's father 50 shekels of silver, and she shall be his wife, because he hath humbled her. He may not put her away all his days. In the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 23, verse 1, hallelujah. A man shall not take his father's wife, and shall not uncover his father's skirt.
Okay, that's self-explanatory.
He that is crushed or maimed in his privy parts shall not enter into the assembly of the Lord.
So if you don't have both of your eggs, your cue balls, you are not in the assembly. You cannot be in the assembly.
A bastard shall not enter into the assembly of the Lord.
Mamzer, yo, Lord Yarbo Mamzer. Mamzer is an illegitimate child. That is a child that comes from adultery or one of the unions that God told you not to have. An Ammonite or Moabite as well, right? Shall not enter into the assembly of the Lord. Even to the 10th generation shall none of his enter into the assembly of the Lord. That's why that son that David had with Bathsheba had to die. It was not going to be allowed into the assembly of the Lord. Come on.
An Ammonite or Moabite shall not enter into the assembly of the Lord.
Lo yaravosh amonid urma oavi bechohel. This is the assembly, right? Yehovah gam dor wa ishari Lord yarvo lerihim bachal bechal, which is assembly. In the assembly, Yehovah ad olam, forever. They'll never be a part of this. Come on.
Even to the 10th generation shall none of them enter into the assembly
No,
of
five,
the Lord.
just five.
Because they met you not with bread and water in the way when he came forth out of Egypt, and because they hired against the Balaam the son of Beor from Pethor of Aram Naharim to curse thee. Nevertheless, the Lord thy God will not hearken unto Balaam, but the Lord thy God turned the curse into a blessing unto thee, because the Lord thy God loved thee. Thou shalt not seek their peace nor their prosperity all thy days forever.
When I want to tell you how real this law is. This law is so real, man. I always thank God for this. I went to Jordan, right? I lived in Jordan for quite some time, and it was an excellent experience. And if you see the country Jordan, when I lived in Jordan, I had groceries. Wait. That was a great experience because I was able to see how people lived in ancient times. Israel is over here. I was in Amman, Jordan, and this is during COVID time when you couldn't even go across into Israel. So we're reading the Torah portion, Devarim, and we're experiencing what Moses experienced. right? So I spent significant time in Amman, Jordan, and I spent some time in the Jordan Valley where I saw, and family, you don't understand how high this mountain is. Tell them, son. When you leave this city and go down this mountain into this valley, oh my God, it is like maybe 2,000 feet. It's insane because this is really low. The Jordan Valley is really low. And as you can see the borders here, this is the bottom of a mountain. I'm talking about, I've never seen something that high in my life. But went all throughout the eastern side of Israel. This mountain range, when they say in the Torah, that's why I say you have to travel. The Ammonites was fortified against the children of Israel. That's because the children of Israel dwelt in a valley, and this is a mountain. You can't fight going uphill. So this is why they were unable to overcome the children of Ammon, because they're going to shoot arrows down while you're trying to climb up. The Israelites lived in this valley. Balaam and Balak were on top of these mountains looking down into this valley trying to curse Israel. But I'm going to digress from that point. See if I can get a street view to show you something. Oh no, there we go. So in my time in Jordan, right? Oh, that's not a good image. But anyway, in my time living in Jordan, we had our groceries stolen, and by a Jordanian cab driver. And I asked myself, why? And this is somebody who it was just a bunch going on. And I asked myself, why is this happening, God? Like, I had a bad run-in with the people. They're not really too crazy, but I had my groceries stolen. And God led me to this verse right here. What does it say?
Thou shalt not seek their peace, nor their prosperity all thy days forever.
You can't be friendly with people who God calls your enemy, because just because you believe the statutes of limitations are up, God doesn't see it that way. So I went and rented a place in Jordan that was supposed to be $300 a month. And I realized, like, I'll tell you the story quick. Let me get through this so I can finish this book out. I went out there. We rented 2 places. As my month rental was up and I was looking to get another place to rent, I go to the store. The store across the street had a Palestinian that worked in it. He was kicked out of Israel by the people, and he lived in Jordan, right? And he was Palestinian. He wasn't Jordanian. And because Jordan is Ammon. Amman, Jordan is Ammon, the Ammonites. And the Moabites are the people who are the Bedouins or whoever that live in these regions, in these towns here. And I said, I need a place to rent. He said, I got a place upstairs. And he showed me his place was pretty cool. I said, how much you want for this place, man? Like, what, $1,200, $1,300? He says, what? He said, man, this place is $300. I said, it's $300 for what, like a week? He said, brother, it's $300 for the month. So he said, how much you pay across the street? I said, man, I pay $1,500. I had 2 wives. I said, I pay $1,500 for one place and $900 for the other place, because I didn't have all my children. I had one child with my second wife, and with my first wife, we had 5 children. So I had one place for $1,500, one place for $900. He said, he said $1,500. Do you know where you at? He laughed hysterically. He says, you could have lived next to the king of Jordan for $1,500. I'm talking about, he told other people came in and they're laughing and they're talking in Arabic. I mean, talking about hysterical laughing, right? Let's show you where I should have lived. I ended up moving in. Is it Abdul?
Yeah, I think so.
Abdul Jordan. This is where we ended up moving to.
Yeah.
Yeah, over here, right?
Yeah.
You say, yeah, hype. You remember that first place. So we were living, oh man. Similar to this. I'll make it simple for you. We were living in this after I learned how it was supposed to go. And I made sure I rented from people from Palestine. So I rented from Palestinians that lived in Jordan. I didn't rent from Jordanians anymore. Because instead of living like we literally had a place that looked like this.
Yeah.
We were living good when we moved to the right part when I started renting from Palestinians. Now let me show you where I lived when I first went there. And this was actually $900 to live here. Let's show you where I lived when I first moved there. You got to find them crappy neighborhoods, son. I don't know the exact. They showing everything under the sun. Oh, I found it. It's laughable now. This is where we lived when we first went there. And he was charging me $1,500 for this. Now you saw the other image. This is where we live. Remember this, son? Yeah. Don't laugh at me, man. Right. So the Jordanian was charging us $1,500 for a place that cost $300, right? Hold on. Let's show you the contrast, family. And this is relevant to show you why the Torah says what it says about these nations and these people. They don't change their characteristics. Hold on. Trying to show y'all the area so you can get an understanding of this, so it can hit home. They don't believe you can zoom in, huh? Where's Street View at, son? So I can show them the difference. No, it's not showing me. Anyway. Abdun, that's what it is. Okay. Spelled it wrong. I want to tell you something. It's a big difference between living in this and living in this. So the Jordanian charged me 1,500, the Moabite, the Ammonite, to live here, when it was only 800 or 900 to live here. Right? This is places where you got a full swimming pool, you got everything under the sun, all the amenities. So when God tells you about these people, the Moabites and the Ammonites, they're still the exact same way. And just because you feel the Lord don't matter, just because you feel it's not important, you have to understand what's happening. Anytime I met a Moabite out there, I stopped dealing with them. I walked away from them. I wouldn't take tea, coffee, crumpets from them. Nothing. I only dealt with Palestinians or Arabians, people that weren't from Jordan. I did no business with a Jordanian because I understand the Torah is for real. The Torah is not to be played with. And what does it say here?
Thou shalt not seek their peace, nor their prosperity, all thy days forever.
We can't be friends. We could never be cool because from 3,000 years ago, they still the same people. Come on.
Thou shalt not abhor an Edomite, for he is thy brother. Thou shalt not abhor an Egyptian, because thou wast a stranger in his land.
That's why I don't got a problem with Yehudi, because I know they Esau. They are brothers. They just going off the beaten path and making stuff up. Come on.
The children of the third generation that are born unto them may enter into the assembly.
We went over this last week. Come on.
When thou goest forth in camp against thy enemies, then thou shalt keep thee from every evil thing. If there be among any man that is not slain by reason of that which chanceth him by night, then he shall go abroad out of the camp. He shall not come within the camp. But it shall be, when evening cometh, he shall bathe himself, and when the sun is down, he may come within the camp. Thou shalt have a place also without the camp, whither thou shalt go forth abroad. And thou shalt have a paddle among thy weapons. And it shall be, when thou sittest down abroad, then thou shalt dig therewith, and shalt turn back and cover that which cometh from thee.
This is for my people who always say you need an oral law to tell you what to do. The Torah tells you to go dig a hole and relieve yourself in the hole and cover it back up. There's no commandment to wipe your behind. Do I need an oral law to know how to wipe my behind because God didn't leave the commandment there? Or is it just common sense?
Common sense.
Come on.
For the Lord thy God walketh in the midst of thy camp to deliver thee and to give up thine enemies before thee. Therefore shall thy camp be holy, that he see no unseemly thing in thee, and turn away from thee. Thou shalt not deliver unto his master a bowman that is escaped from his master unto thee.
Simple.
He shall dwell with thee in the midst of thee, in a place which he shall choose within one of thy gates. What it liketh him best, thou shalt not wrong him.
So this is because if you can get away from someone and run to your people, you don't run to the nation of Israel by mistake. Everyone that runs into an Israelite is for a purpose and a reason. Come on.
There shall be no harlot of the daughters of Israel, neither shall there be a sodomite of the sons of Israel.
Lodati hayere kodeshar. Mi no Yisrael welo ye kodesh mivne Yisrael. Doesn't actually say harlot. Kadesha is like something that is profane. Harlot is the word zona. So this is for those who say, oh, there's no prohibition against lesbianism, right? Lodatihiye kidesha, right? Mivnot Yisrael. Wilo ye kodesh mivne Yisrael. So if this is sodomite for the sons of Israel, then this has to be, and the word sodomite is not there, but let's get it. What verse is that?
We in 23 now.
23 what?
18. Wait, 17.
I really don't like the translations on this. The zona is the word for prostitute. Temple prostitute or harlot. see this. I ought to get another translate, another thing. I like to do it off the chat. The day stuff is crazy. Come on, let's go.
Thou shalt not bring the hire of a harlot or the prince of a dog into the house
The price.
or the price of a dog into the house of the Lord thy God for any vow. For even both these are an abomination unto the Lord thy God.
Lord out of 10. Zonah. See, this is what I mean. This is what I mean. Thou shalt not hire a harlot. The word harlot is zonah, not Hadesha. Why would Moses use this word here and this word here? It's talking about something profane. But when you deal with their translations, you're subject to their translations. So just so you can understand. Come on.
Thou shalt not lend interest to thy brother. Interest of money, interest of victuals, interest of anything that is lent upon interest.
Whatever you give a brother, that's the exact amount he has to pay you back. He can't give you $1 and you say, give me $1.01.
Unto a foreigner thou mayest lend upon interest, but unto thy brother thou shalt not lend upon interest.
This guy right here, Le Nikhari, right? Nikhar is the word for foreigner, a stranger. See, there's when it says it's one law for the homeborn and it's one law for the Israelite, the word Nikhar is not there. That word is ger. Nikhar is just someone who lives around you, right? In Judaism, they carry this a ger toshuv, meaning he dwells with you, where versus a ger zedek, which is a righteous convert, right? It says unto, because this is the same person you could give meat that's torn of a beast to the Nikhar. This is not, it's two different words for strangers or converts. You have a ger, which is a convert, and then you have a Nikhar, which is a stranger that's just around you. Come on.
Unto a foreigner thou mayest lend upon interest, but unto thy brother thou shalt not lend upon interest. That the Lord thy God may bless thee in all that thou puttest thy hand unto, and a land whither thou goest in to possess it. When thou shalt vow a vow unto the Lord thy God, thou shalt not be slack to pay it, for the Lord thy God will surely require of thee, and it will be sin in thee.
You have to do whatever you give, whatever you vow to do to God. So I vow every day to work out and read for an hour. So I have to do that before a day is complete, or it's counted as sin. Come on.
But if thou shalt forbear to vow, it shall be no sin in thee. That which is gone out of thy lips thou shalt observe and do, according as thou hast vowed freely unto the Lord thy God, even that which thou hast promised with thy mouth. When thou comest into thy neighbor's vineyard, then thou mayest eat grapes until thou have enough at thine own pleasure, but thou shalt not put any in thy vessel.
You can go to this vineyard and eat as much grapes as you want. But this is why God said it. When you start to collect, you are now a bum and a thief, and God does not want that. If you're willing to walk from over here to get some grapes, by all means, help yourself out. But you cannot get a basket and take it back. That is stealing.
When thou comest into thy neighbor's standing corn, then thou mayest pluck ears with thy hand, but thou shalt not move a sickle unto thy neighbor's standing corn.
Because there's little damage you can do by going to this with your hand. When you go with a sickle, you want him to work for you. I don't want to plant no seeds. I don't want to plant a vineyard. I want you to do everything for me, and I'm going to just reap what you sow. Almost at the end. Let's fly through this one.
When a man taketh a wife, and he marrieth her, it's 11:46.
Yeah, come on.
And then cometh to pass, if she found no favor in his eyes, because he hath found some unseemly thing in her, that he writeth for a bill of divorcement, and giveth it in her hand, and sendeth her out of his house.
So if you have a wife and you divorce her, you have to write her what's called the get in Judaism, or a bill of divorce. When you write her that bill of divorce, you hand it to her in the sight of two witnesses, because at the hands of 2 or 3 witnesses shall all matters be established. You don't just give it to her and then you say, I ain't give you that and this and that. No. You have to have people who witnessed it to protect you and protect her. It says what?
She departed out of his house and goeth and becometh another man's wife.
So if she becomes someone else's wife and she has laid with that man, what else?
And the latter husband hateth her and writeth her a bill of divorce.
So he don't like her. He write a bill of divorce.
And give it in her hand and sendeth her out of his house. Or if the latter husband died who took her to be his wife, her former husband who sent her away may not take her again to be his wife. After that she is defiled, for that is an abomination before the Lord.
Lo yirkov Lord, harashon sheshihod, larshov lechatot, leryot, la ishar, akre ishar, hotarmead. She is tameh. This is the same word used as unclean to you. Once she's laid with someone else, this is the same word used when she is spiritually impure. You cannot touch her anymore. The root of this is tameh. So there is no doubling back. If that sister want to go on a break, you're done. You know that sister's number one line, man. They want to break. No, they want to go treesh. And after that dude dissed them, then they want to go back to you, brother. But God is protecting you from your foolish ways. For you be singing, baby, come back. You could blame it all on me. Let's go here. They're going to make this difficult. They're going to make this difficult. Where's it at? Four. What does it say? The word is tameh, to be unclean, to become unclean, to be unclean sexually, religiously, ceremoniously, to defile oneself, defile. Oh, let's see where this is used. Defileth, defile, polluted, unclean, with the laws of Leviticus. When it comes to Nida and everything else, you cannot be with her again. It's over. So that means if she cheats on you with another man, your relationship is essentially over. It's the same concept. She's been with another man. If she's been SA'd, then you go to the judges on that one. I wouldn't tell you put a woman away that's been assaulted because that's not her will. But if she willingly leaves you in modern time, because you really don't write bill of divorces like how we would see it in this verse, what's more likely to happen is a woman want to go on a break for the summer. She go whole all summer and then come back to your silly behind and you want to take her back. Just know that relationship is defiled. I had a sister telling me she had broke up with the person, actually literally got a divorce. It was like, oh, do you think I can go back? And says, no, y'all done. You done tied a whole new man. Y'all are fin-. And she was pissed. And I told her, no, y'all are done. Y'all are cooked. So the word of God stands over all emotions and feelings. Let's go.
When a man taketh a new wife, he shall not.
Wait.
Her former husband who sent her away.
Which the Lord thy God will give. Go ahead.
Okay. May not take her again to be his wife. After that, she is defiled. But that's an abomination before the Lord. And that's when I cause the land to sin, which the Lord thy God giveth thee for inheritance. Come on. When a man taketh a new wife, and when a man taketh a new wife, he shall not go out in the host, neither shall he be charged with any business. He shall be free for his house 1 year, and shall share his wife for whom he has taken.
So he's with his wife for 1 year. He don't go out to war. Come on.
No man shall take the mill or the upper millstone to pledge, for he taketh a man's life to pledge. If a man be found stealing any of his brethren of the children of Israel, and deal with him as a slave, and sell him, that thief shall die. So shalt thou put away the evil from the midst of thee.
Kidnapping is murder. Kidnapping is like murder, a death penalty. And that's the same thing Joseph's brothers did. So you can see the acts of Genesis coming back into Deuteronomy.
Take heed in the plague of leprosy, that thou observe diligently, and do according to all the priests, the Levites shall teach you, as I commanded.
You mean the Gentile judges?
The priests, the Levites.
The Goyim rabbi.
The priests, the Levites.
The reverend.
The priests, the Levites.
Okay, let's go.
Remember what the Lord thy God did unto Miriam, by the way as he came forth out of Egypt.
When he made her a leper. And it wasn't a bacterial skin disease. He gave her vitiligo, turned her white.
When thou dost lend thy neighbor any manner of loan, thou shalt not go into his house to fetch his pledge.
If someone owes you money, you don't go into his house saying, hey, give me that bike until you pay me my money. You don't do that. We have to have respect for each other. You call him on the phone and say that. I'm messing with you. Come on.
Thou shalt stand without, and the man whom thou dost lend shall bring forth the pledge without unto thee.
So you stand outside and don't disrespect that man. He has to keep up appearance for his wife and his children. His wife might not know that he's borrowing money from you. So if he take a pledge out to you, because a pledge is something that you exchange for borrowing the money as like collateral that you're going to be paid back. If you walk into his house with a pledge, his family there is like, oh, I got to give up the TV right now because my dad is broke. But if he just take the TV out, he could go and say, yo, the TV broke, or I got to pawn this right now, or whatever the case is. It's less embarrassing. Come on.
And if he be a poor man, thou shalt not sleep with his pledge. Thou shalt surely restore to him the pledge when the sun goeth down, that he may sleep with his garment and bless thee, and it shall be righteousness unto thee before the Lord thy God.
In Jordan, they sell coats. I got one. It's a fur coat. And it's like wool, not really fur. It's a wool coat. And it's so long, you can use it as a blanket. You can use it as a pillow and a coat. So that's what that's describing, those type of garments.
Thou shalt not oppress a hired servant that is poor and needy, whether he be of thy brethren or thy strangers that are in the land within thy gates. In the same day thou shalt give him his hire.
Let's see what word is used for stranger. See? Umigreka. This is a convert. That's not the same as the word nakar. These people actually have rights. The guy who just lives in Israel, who's not following your way, gets done dirty.
In that same day thou shalt give him his hire, neither shall the sun go down upon it, for he is poor, and set up his heart upon it, lest he cry.
If a brother works for you, you have to pay him by the day. If he's poor, you cannot, or if he is in need, and most brothers working for you, they're in need. You can't hold their money for 2 weeks unless you'll have that agreement worked out. But for the most part, well, you should actually pay him before the day is up. Don't hire anyone that you can't pay for the day. I'll put it that way.
Lest he cry against thee unto the Lord, and it be sin in thee. The father shall not be put to death for the children, neither shall the children be put to death for the fathers.
This is
put to death for his own sin.
Every man shall be put to death for his own sin. Just destroys the JC concept. But we're going to keep it moving.
Let's not pervert the justice due to the stranger or to the fatherless, nor take the widow's raiment to pledge.
Let's see the word used for stranger here. Lo titar mishpat. Do not change the judgment of the gear. The gear is the convert, the stranger, not the nikhari, the guy that you can sell food torn of a beast to, the guy that you can charge interest to. The gear is anyone who claims to be Israel from the nations. Come on. And follows the Lord's statutes and commandments.
Let's remember that was a bondman in Egypt, and the Lord thy God redeems these ends. Wherefore I command thee to do this thing.
And you don't pervert justice. This is why I said last night that women and single mothers raising houses is one of the worst concepts in history, right? The stranger doesn't have an Israelite father to speak on his behalf because he's not an Israelite. It doesn't say the motherless. It says here the fatherless, because your father was supposed to lead, guide, shield, protect you. And the widow, all three people without a man to represent them. God said, don't extort these people or exploit these people. Shows you the significance of a father. You don't have a family if you don't have a father or properly functioning family. Because a properly functioning family, that man is supposed to be able to defend you and go to defense for you. Like I said, if you were raised by your mother, I'm sorry to hear that, but that doesn't change what the Torah says. You're supposed to have your father there, and it's a problem if he's not there, because these men don't have a father and they need special protection. Come on.
When thou reapest thy harvest in the field, and hast forgotten a sheaf in the field, thou shalt not go back to fetch it. It shall be for the stranger, for the fatherless, and for the widow, that the Lord thy God may bless thee in all the work of thy hands.
These are people who needed protection. Come on.
When thou beatest thine olive tree, thou shalt not go over the burrows again. It shall be for the stranger, for the fatherless, and for the widow.
Why do they keep mentioning three people without a man to protect them? Because it's important to have a man to protect you. Not a replacement father, their father. And if it don't work with their father, then give him his children. Then if he don't do Torah, I didn't tell you to have kids with someone who don't do Torah. It's just silly. And if you just coming into this understanding, then you do Torah, you try to bring the brother along, but a unit is supposed to be a unit. God has an order to a household. Come on.
When thou gatherest the grapes of thy vineyard, thou shalt not glean it after thee. It shall be for the stranger, for the fatherless, and for the widow.
There we go again. Come
and
on.
Thou shalt remember that thou wast a bondsman in the land of Egypt. Therefore I command thee to do this thing.
Hallelujah. This is the whole thing? Okay, we got time. We're going to finish this up. Let's go.
If there be a controversy between men, and they come into the judgment, and the judges judge them by justifying the righteous and condemning the wicked, then it shall be, if the wicked man deserves to be beaten, that the judge shall cause him to lie down and to be beaten before his face, according to the measure of his wickedness, by number. 40 stripes he may give him. He shall not exceed, lest if he should exceed.
I was looking into this Mishnah, and somewhere it said 39, but we don't got time to get into it. They just do a bunch of goofy stuff. But come on.
Lest if he should exceed and beat him above these with many stripes, then thy brother shall be dishonored before thine eyes.
So you get 40 stripes if you do something that's deserving of getting whipped.
Thou shalt not muzzle the ox where he treadeth out the corn.
This has a deeper meaning to it. If an ox is working the field and you have a muzzle on him and he's hungry, he can't eat. You don't have people work for you and you don't have the ability to pay them in any capacity. Any work that someone does for you, you should be able to compensate them for that in the spirit of this law. There's the letter of the law, then there's the spirit of the law. The spirit of this law is anytime someone works for you, you should pay them or compensate them. Come on.
If brethren dwell together, and one of them die and have no child, the wife of the dead shall not be married abroad unto one not of his kin. Her husband's brother shall go in unto her, and take her to him to wife, and perform the duty of a husband's brother.
Let's go into
her.
this. This is worthwhile. Ki yishvo achim yoradai urme ahad marchim ubein in lo, and has no son. And has no son. Why did they translate this as child? This is the word for son, but they don't have son here because the translators were Yehudi, and they believe that you are an Israelite through your mother. Now, this verse obliterates that you are Israelite through your mother. This verse obliterates that you can pass down being an Israelite through your mother. And I'm going to show it to you. If Yishbu, two men, if dwelling together, Achim, brothers, Yadar, and one, Umet, dies. Ahad, Mehim, Udbein Lo, and he does not have a son. He doesn't have a son, not child, son. Then what does it say?
And it shall be that the firstborn that she beareth shall
No. The wife?
The wife of the dead shall not be married abroad unto one not of his kin.
So she has to be married to one of his kin. Why is that? Because they have the same Y chromosome. Hold on. What does it say here?
Yes, paternal half brothers will share the exact same Y chromosome because it is passed down directly from father to his sons, making them identical in that specific chromosome. A Y chromosome test will confirm they have a common.
Read this again, Claire.
A Y chromosome test will confirm they have a common parental ancestor.
Paternal
ancestor. The one won't distinguish between full and half brothers because the test only looks for a male lineage match.
For a male lineage match. That's what this law is about. This law is about Y-DNA. Let's go.
And take her to him to wife, and perform the duty of a husband's brother unto her. And it shall be that the firstborn that she beareth shall succeed in the name.
So the firstborn child that she has is going to be in the name of the brother. How is that possible? Because they have the same Y chromosome from their father. If this is your father, your brother would be over here. This is you. This is your father, his father, his father. You all have the same Y chromosome. The daughter has the X. She doesn't get a Y chromosome. So that's why when it says you raise the son up as the brother's son, because y'all both come from the same father. Y'all all have the same DNA. What else does it say?
And it shall come to pass.
No.
Okay. And if the man.
No.
And it shall be that the firstborn that she beareth shall succeed in the name of his brother that is dead, that his name be not blotted out of Israel.
Now, if it says if a man dies and has no son, his brother has to go into the wife and then raise up a child in his name, right? Probably a son. But let me ask you this. Why would Yihab? That's like firstborn. Contextually, you would say son, because it says if you had no son here, and Havkor is Habechor is only used for firstborn, but in context of males. But if he doesn't have a son, if a man dies and doesn't have a son, his brother, Ubain, his brother goes into his wife, and the firstborn that they have, this more likely going to be a son, right, is raised as the brother's child. Because if he had a daughter, then contextually, when it says the firstborn, you wouldn't need to have the brother go into the girl if it was passed down matrilineally. Because let me say this: if Adam, let me do this. Hold on. If he dies and has a daughter and doesn't have a son, his wife, right, has to marry his brother. His brother goes into the wife, and the firstborn son that comes from the brother and the wife is now raised as his child. It didn't say if he died and have no children. It says if he dies and has no son. So that shows you. And it says the brother has to have a child with his wife so that his name is not taken out of Israel. If he has a daughter and Judaism is passed through the daughter, why would his name be taken out of Israel? Because it's not matrilineal, it's patrilineal. Come on, let's get through this.
And if the man like not to take his brother's wife, then his brother's wife shall go up to the gates and to the elders and say, my husband's brother refuses to raise up unto his brother a name in Israel.
Oh, but why? She has daughters. Come on.
He will not perform the duty of a husband's brother unto me. Then the elders of the city shall call him and speak unto him. And if he stand and say, I like not to take her, then shall his brother's wife draw nigh unto him in the presence of the elders, and loose his shoe from off his foot, and spit in his face. And she shall answer and say, so shall it be done unto the man that doth not build up his brother's house. So his name shall be called in Israel, the house of him that had his shoe loosed.
So he refused to help his brother like Onan, who was killed by God.
When men strive together one with another, and the wife of one draw near to deliver her husband out of the hand of him that smiteth him, and she putteth forth of him, and taketh him by the secrets, then shalt thou cut off her hand, then I shall have no pity.
So this is showing you, if you brothers did not understand that you can't go with a woman, or you can't, your marriage is over once that woman has sex with someone else. Your relationship, your marriage, it's over. It's done. You can't be with her anymore. This law extrapolates that point. If you're fighting with a man and your wife grabs a man's private area, you're to cut that hand off. If she can't touch it with her hand, how could another man insert his rod into her and you still can be with that woman? Once that woman lays with someone else, she is tameh, you can no longer go into her. It's over. There is no marriage counseling. I had a rabbi tell me that a sister came to him in confidence and told him that she cheated on her husband and she feels sorry and she wants to repent. And he helped the woman because the guy who she was having an affair with was trying to blackmail her to basically say, if you don't stop, if you don't continue to cheat with me, I'm going to tell your husband. So he helped her conceal it from the husband and condemned the guy who wanted to continue to have an affair with her. I said, this is the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my life, man. And it's what I mean about not following the Torah. I would have told on him, her, and the guy. Because every day that man is with that woman, you're causing him to sin. He's not supposed to be with her. She willingly went with another man. Their relationship is over. But that's what I mean about the liberal rabbis and the liberal interpretations and their breakdown over what God said. Come on.
Thou shalt not have in thy bag diverse weights, a great and a small.
No. What does God say?
Then thou shalt cut off her hand, and I shall have no pity.
So if you got to cut off her hand for touching a man's private area, don't you have to spiritually cut her off for laying with another man while married?
Again,
This was done on accident, and you're not supposed to feel sorry for. What about something done on purpose? When she goes on a break and lays with a new man when she's on break, or she goes on a girls' trip which she shouldn't be on anyway, or she has that work husband. The relationship is over. Y'all done.
thou shalt not have in thy bag diverse weights, a great and a small. Thou shalt not have in thy house diverse measures, a great and a small. A perfect and just weight shalt thou have. A perfect and just measure shalt thou have, that the days may be long upon the land which the Lord thy God giveth thee. For all that do such things, even all that do unrighteously, are an abomination unto the Lord thy God. Remember what Amalek did unto thee by the way as he came forth out of Egypt, how he met thee by the way, and smote the hindmost of thee, all thou wert enfeebled in thy rear, when thou wast faint and weary, and he feared not God. Therefore it shall be, when the Lord thy God hath given thee the rest from all thy enemies round about, in the land which the Lord thy God giveth thee for the inheritance to possess it, that thou shalt blot out the remembrance of Amalek from under heaven. Thou shalt
Now,
not forget.
I want you to understand something about Judaism. For those just looking to go over there, they have their own interpretation of these laws. They actually believe you fulfilled this commandment when you read the Megillah, the scroll of Esther, of Hadassah, and every time you hear Haman's name, who is an Amalekite, you bang on the table. Now we know God is saying to destroy Amalek from under heaven, but they take blotting his name out as banging on the table. I ask you a simple question. Understanding that Esau converted into Judaism and took it over, who do you think would benefit? Remember, Amalek is a descendant of Edom. Amalekites are Edomites. Who would it benefit to no longer think that this law means to destroy Amalek and to only bang on the table and clap and make noise? Who would that benefit? The Amalekites, right?
Yep.
This is what I mean. They just laugh at you, man. When you don't know that you don't know, you just get made fun of. So they'll tell you bang on the table, and that's how you fulfill his commandment. And you got black Jews cheesing, banging on the table, making a fool of themselves. And that's not what God said to do. God said destroy them from under heaven. Destroy the remembrance of them. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
That was the Torah portion.
Hallelujah.
All honor, praise, and glory to Yah Most High, the fountain of living waters, the maker, the owner, the creator, the possessor of all things and everything. We thank you, family, for joining us. We will be back at 4 p.m. 4 p.m. And we will do the secrets of the ship. No, I'm sorry. I'm all over the place. Isaiah
8 to 12.
8 through 12. We got to finish chapters 8 through 12. So we'll pick that up at 4:30 p.m. All honor, praise, and glory to Yah Most High. Shalom, shalom to the brethren, my brother. Yahia, my brother. Saw, as always, man. Peace and blessings to you, King, and to the rest of the family. We bid you with a Shabbat Shalom. We thank you for joining us. Catch us at 4:30. Should I go 4:30 or 5? 5 p.m. 5 p.m. We'll be back for Isaiah chapter 8 through 12. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.